All right, we got Oregon State in the house. We got head coach Wayne Tinkle, and then players Damarco Minor and Michael Rataj. Thanks for hopping on. I know it's been a long day here at WCC Media Day. First question there's been a lot of changes, obviously, at Oregon State. A lot of new guys coming in, and a few of the returners obviously are going to make big steps and whatnot. How have been these first few months of going through practices, and what this group is going to look like this year?
Want me to start?
Sure.
It's been great. Obviously, you talk to your colleagues and you tell them you have 9 new players, and they're like, "Oh boy!" But I thought our staff did an incredible job of bringing in the right types of players with the right personalities and the right character. That's what we've always been big on. And in our good years at Oregon State, when we've had that, we've done great things. Now, we've had to learn roles. Guys had to get to know each other. Mike lost a lot of his good buddies that he came in with as a freshman. He's really grown with this new group. So it's been neat to see the transformation. Oh, we've got one guy that's a fourth-year player that wasn't the most confident when we got him in July, and the guy's turned into a monster. He's really come out of his shell, I think, from how he was treated at his former school and how he's being treated here. So it's been really neat as a head coach to kind of see the growth and development, albeit the off season. When the ball goes up in the air here, we still have a lot of growth that needs to happen, but we're confident we've got the group to do it.
Just looking at the style of players, I'm starting to watch film on a lot of the transfers coming in, and there's the one thing that kind of resonated with me was just how tough and gritty a lot of those guys were, and Damarco, you being one of those guys, just kind of talk about what the personality of this team has kind of turned into, at least early on.
Well, in my great years, and I'm talking about at Montana and at Oregon State, people always say the team takes on the coach's personality. Well, that's only if they're capable. And when we've had teams that were able to kind of exude the toughness with which we go about our practice and our habits day in and day out, we've achieved really, really good things. Haven't had it the last few years. And I really feel like this team has that. We've got physicality at the guard positions, forward positions, in the post. And that's defensively, offensively. That's from cutting and screening to hedging screens to keeping the ball in front. All of those things that we've kind of been poor at, quite honestly, we've addressed. And so it gives me great confidence that this is going to be a team. And again, they have to go out and perform. Polo said it earlier. They've got to go out there and get the results. We can only coach so much when the ball goes in the air. But if they can do those things, I've got great, I think we have great potential, and I have great enthusiasm for what I think we can do.
Damarco, coming in as a transfer, how has it been? How has your experience been as you start to learn a new system, integrate with your new teammates, and just the challenges you've had in practice?
Just picking coach's brain. As long as I could be his brain out there while I'm with the guys, then he don't really got to say too much. So that's probably the hardest thing, just adjusting to who he is. But it really is not that hard because we got a big thing in common. We both winners. So I feel like with that, a lot of things are similar, but I'm still learning day by day. Still a long journey ahead, but I feel like he's making it easier for me, for sure.
Michael, for you, coming back as one of the returners on this squad, how talk about your development, but then also how you've seen the new guys start to integrate and start to kind of, I guess, create a bond that it looks like you guys are starting to form.
Yeah, for me personally, I feel like the guys been great so far. The bond's been really strong. I mean, like Paulo said and Koshenko, we all come here to play basketball and to win again. I mean, I feel like the coach did a great job getting the right guys here, like Paulo, like Pasa, Matthew, add the right pieces. And we all love basketball. We all want to win. That's why, forming that bond is pretty easily. You know what I mean? We all love the same thing. We're all passionate about basketball. So being together with those groups just been great.
And there are also a lot of new faces on here. Again, going through seeing guys like Matthew Marshall, just a big body. Isaiah Sai, who looks incredibly athletic and maybe a little raw, but definitely has a lot of the pieces. How have you just the development of a lot of the guys that are coming in and how quickly they've been able to pick up the system?
Well, I think first we had to establish our culture, and that's how we play, how we go about every drill, every rep. before we can really start talking about roles and then how we utilize those guys with their strengths and then helping to develop their weaknesses. But I think we're getting there. I think we're turning the corner now. My main philosophy is if we defend our tails off and rebound the ball, and I hated as a player when you would defend, back then it was a 45-second shot clock. You would defend for 45 seconds, and then you had to all turn and look at what play was being called, and instead of getting out and running. And so, again, when we've got the right group that can actually defend and rebound, we're telling them go. You guys go make plays for each other, and all we're going to teach is proper spacing and making the right decisions. And I know which scenario I'd prefer, and these guys quickly learn. Our good teams have learned. Let's go defend and get after it on the defensive end, and then let's make plays for each other. We're seeing that now develop. Polo's starting to see who he knows his knockdown shooters are. So when he in our motion goes and attacks their defender, he knows he can get it to him, and a good percentage of the time that's 3 on the board, or who's got a mismatch in the post. We've thrown a lot at our guys. We've introduced a lot of our sets. We first, and my staff's great. They're like, Coach, we've got to get these guys railroad tracked early. I said, no, we've got to get them used to get to know each other. Mm-hmm. They need to learn who can do what, who you are and who you're playing with. Then we can throw the sets after that. So I think we're in a really good spot offensively. I think we got way more potential than we've had, to where when we need to slow down or come out of a timeout or after a free throw, they know why we're running this and what we're going to get out of it. In combination with when we're running our motion, this is where a guy that can put it on the floor has the freedom to make a play. Or when this guy knows he can cut back door and post a smaller guy, we can do it in this scenario. So it's been great to see that process over the last several months. And now the ultimate test is when the games come. Now you got to go do it in front of a crowd. And, if you're sitting on the bench for a while, the minutes are handed out, we've got to continue to grow. But these guys, again, give us great confidence that we're going to be able to take that head on.
Now, one of the big changes, obviously, this year is now joining the WCC for these next couple of seasons. Just how much different? Obviously, you haven't played a single game against a WCC team, so there's still that to come, and still scouting them and everything else. But what changes have there been, at least thus far, of like making that adjustment for the WCC, whether that be the way you're recruiting or just even being here at Media Day? What's been different, and how has that changed?
I think the big thing is just, we've got coaches new styles that we have to learn. It was our assistants' homework over the summer. We'll see. I told them they needed to watch games. And you need to know what a coach's habit is out of a timeout. Does he trap ball screens? Do they like to run a lob, out of a timeout? And so those are things I know throughout the year. I do personally as the head coach. I knew what Dana was going to do out of a timeout, offensively or defensively. Tad Boyle, that's going to be an adjustment. But the good thing is we'll have their preseason games and games from past years. Obviously, there's a couple of new coaches in the league at Pepperdine and Pacific that will have to kind of get caught up to speed. But through scouting, through all that sort of thing, I know we'll be in the right position. And having said all that, I'm more concerned about how they're going to adapt to what we've got to do. Mm-hmm. And I've made quotes before. I'll hand the other team our playbook. They still got to guard it. And they still got to be able to figure out our changing defenses, that sort of thing. So it really is more about us. But to answer your question, that's it. Just their playing styles, their roster, because we're playing new guys, obviously, but we're ready for the challenge.
And that's one of the challenges in general, just like the way the portal kind of shifts in so much that a lot of these teams don't even look the same as they did a year ago because there's so much movement. And as you've had to actually do this off season, what have been maybe like the good? Obviously, we know like what the challenges are with the portal and trying to find newspapers so quickly, but what maybe is some of the positive that has come out of that, of like when you are able to almost turn over a roster when something may not be going well?
Well, you've seen across the country, there's obviously some guys that really thrive, coaches thrive in that environment. They don't mind the turnover from year to year. I'm a big relationship guy. I want guys for 3-4 years, and that's where I feel I can really impart my knowledge, not just as a coach, but kind of as a mentor. I want to help these guys to one day be great husbands, fathers, contributors. And so it's hard when you don't, and especially when you have a kid, you know that's exactly what he needs. Doesn't see it, and he walks away after a year. But you used to use junior college to fill a void. Hey, we need a mature four-man or a mature shooting guard, somebody with some miles on their tires, so to speak. You can do that now through the portal. But we still don't want to compromise, the main important things are the character, the IQ. We're going to bring in somebody new that's going to try to make it about them, or are they going to dive into the us mentality? We feel like we've really addressed that with this group.
So one of the other things is that with the Pac-12 reforming itself over the last few weeks, obviously did everything that happened a year ago with the schools departing, but between Oregon State and Washington State, kind of rebuilding it through schools from the Mountain West, adding Gonzaga. Looking forward a couple of years of what that league is going to look like on a basketball front, because now that is a league that looks like one of the better basketball conferences in the country.
Yeah, I mean it's really hard for me to look that far. I mean, we're so focused on this year, but it's gaining momentum, and I think it's just the start. I think with the latest additions, you're going to see some other universities want to be a part of it, and you're exactly right. And in our best year, I think in the Pac-12 we got 7 teams in. We were part of that. We were part of a year where it was 6. With that league dissolving, even though there's still some strong schools on the West Coast that are in other conferences, we feel that the WCC is going to go from a 1-2 team bid to could be 4 or 5. So I think that's exciting for the conference. It's exciting for us to know that all the work we put in could really lead to good things. So some intriguing pieces to the way things have shaped out for the WCC this year. And we're, like I said, we're thrilled to be a part of it, and we're anxious to get after it to leave our footprint on it for sure.
So I'll go back to what the actual games you have starting in a couple of weeks. So you have going through the non-conference schedule, you do face your old conference opponent, Oregon. So I'm sure that's going to be just a fun one for, obviously, for you guys, the fans, to have that rekindled, even though they've left for the Big Ten. At North Texas is a great mid-major program. Talk about just the way the schedule was kind of constructed as you kind of map your way through to your first WCC
season. We wanted to get some excitement, enthusiasm at home early, and some confidence. Hopefully, we got some good opponents. I mean, Weber State's been a team that I beat them enough in the Big Sky, and I'm like, now we're going to let them come back. But they're teams that are going to challenge us, and hopefully, if we handle our business, we'll be able to build some early momentum. Oregon, we agreed to play each other. The whole thing was, where do we start? So Dana and I played golf. I kicked his ass, and we're playing in Corvallis. So it'll be neat, and I think it's only going to add to that rivalry. The fact that they leave to go to the Big Ten, and it's going to be fun. I've got a lot of respect for Dana, and he's put together a heck of a team. But that's going to be a fun one, like Mike said, for sure. We wanted to have a true road game. And we wanted to go to a different part of the country. We want to restart recruiting in Texas. North Texas has had a lot of success of late, and so we agreed to start there. We'll get them back in Corvallis. Some good teams that we're going to play in December once school finishes and we get through finals, kind of make that last push towards conference. And then we're off to Hawaii, really good field at the Diamond Head Classic. Yep. We're opening up against College of Charleston and was in the tournament last year. Oakland, I'm really good buddies with Greg Campy. He's done a hell of a job at Oakland, and Loyola Chicago. We already talked about Nebraska. They put it on us in Sioux Falls a little bit last year. If we match up with them, it would be a great opportunity to get back. So we feel like we're going to be challenged. We feel like we're going to play some teams early that we hope to play late come March Madness. So I feel like it really sets up for us. But talk is cheap. We've got to go out there and handle our business, and hopefully we get some confidence and momentum heading in the league.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, Coach. Thanks a lot, guys, for hopping on. I will definitely catch up down the season.
Awesome. Look forward to talking to you.